Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast. So let's say you observed me in a conversation this past weekend, and I want you to ask yourself what you think is going to happen with the person that I was having a chat with. Okay, so I went up to someone, in fact, several people, and I said, "Oh, how about if we go zip lining?" But not one of those just, get on the line and go zip down the mountainside. Let's go to the one where there's an obstacle course and you've got to climb the ropes and the ladders and really stretch yourself. Now, this is how the person responded to me, two of them. And I want you to use your mind and think about the quality of their life, because it is not my job to tell you what to think. It is to teach you how to think. Okay. And so the one person goes, "Ooh, I don't know. I hurt my arm. I actually broke my wrist 2 years ago. And wow, I really don't want to use it. It hurts, and it hurts a lot. And I don't want to stress or strain it." Now keep this in mind. When you break something and it heals, it is now the strongest part of you. Okay. So what do you think their quality of life is going to be with them going, "Oh yeah, no, I try to keep from using that because it was hurt once before"? And then the other person said, "Well, I've had hip surgery, and I don't know, that might be really pushing myself, and that could really cause me some challenges because, I'm really babying it and taking it easy." What do you think her quality of life is going to be? Because they've been hurt. They've been wounded, and it's caused them problems. And now they're babying this part of them. They're afraid to actually get out and use it. Here's some insight on how our body, our emotions, and our mind all work together. The pain does not stop. And then you'll become a success. Then you'll be healthy. Then you'll be functional. Then you'll be able to move on. You're a success because you've given the pain a purpose. And once you do that, the pain doesn't stop. It begins to diminish because it's going, "Really? I'm going to test you and make sure on this." And you keep going, "Yes, we're moving forward. Yes, we're using these parts of us. Yes, to success." And then after 91 days of doing that, your mind, your emotions, and your body all begin to work together as a team and go, "Okay, well, let's see what else that we can tackle." Where do you stop your success? And it's not just with your physical body. By the way, I understand some levels of pain. I injured myself several years ago, and I was told that I had about 10 to 15% use of my arm that I would be able to recover. It took me 2 months of being in a cast and then another almost 10 months of intense physical therapy of breaking through all the scar tissue that formed while I was in the cast before I was able to get use of my arm back. I would scream. They would schedule me in physical therapy first thing in the morning before others would come in because at times I screamed so loud it scared the flip out of the other people in the waiting room for the physical therapist. And so they'd have to bring me in for everybody else. But I was not going to be denied. I was not going to stop and be told I was going to be handicapped the rest of my life. But that's what we do when we get wounded. Where do you stop when you go after your success? You stop when it gets hard. You stop because you haven't given the pain a purpose. And why does it get hard? Because you have been wounded and you have been wounded all the way to your core. I don't know if it's maybe with your finances and the fact that something went absolutely belly up. Could it have been with your health? The diagnosis that came out of nowhere. Boy, you never saw that one coming. Maybe it was with the relationship betrayed as far as they could take you. Yeah, I had a family member at one time that was living with us, and they were a recovering heroin addict. And while they were with us, we discovered that they had gone back to using. And how did I discover that? Well, if you take a blank check and put it on a window, and underneath it, you put something that another person has signed, you can copy their signature. Ideal. Yep, had it done. Could it be with your career? Maybe it was the layoff. Maybe it was the layoff, but you're still there. Now you've got to do everybody else's work as well as yours. You stop moving forward because you've been wounded. You've been wounded all the way to your core. We're talking today how to give your pain a purpose and how to begin to use that to move forward. And what do we mean on giving your pain a purpose? You know, I worked with a woman that was in one of the most horrific experiences as a woman that we can think of, where her significant other was trying to take her out. And she had been able to get away successfully. It had been a number of years. She had changed some things to where no one knew what she had experienced and who she was, but she was still living with post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a number of years later. She's waking up every morning going, oh my gosh, what's going to happen today that's going to take me out? And now she's got a beautiful marriage and an incredible little girl. And she is passing this on to her husband and her little girl. And she's realizing she's destroying any chance of happiness and joy that she has. So I did a hypnosis session for her, and I asked her powerful mind to come up with the purpose. I didn't need to know it. She didn't need to know what it was consciously. Just said, okay, you know what? We've got to add a purpose to this, powerful mind. And you know how to do that before. You've read stories about people who have overcome incredible odds. So now you're one of them. Use what you've learned in the stories. And I talked to her a few weeks later, and I'm like, okay, so what's up? And she's like, my life has completely turned around. She goes, but more than that, I'm doing something I never dreamed of doing. I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book for other women who found themselves in the same situation. And now it's going to be a blueprint for how they can get out and then begin to design a life of quality, of joy, of happiness that they want to live. I didn't put that there. She already knew it, but she had to reveal it. And the revelation comes from the wounds that we've had and us deciding that we are going to use them instead of becoming a pawn for someone else's purpose. By the way, welcome to Magnificent Monday Mindset, where we're in a leadership series. Who am I to assist you with this? Dawn Ferguson, certified hypnotist, certified instructor, rapid results coach. Woohoo, I have initials behind my name. What it means is I know how to take you from where you are to where you want to be as quick as possible. In fact, over the weekend, I had one of my previous students who's a therapist, a licensed clinical therapist, send me a kudos that, yes, I'm going to post, but he said in it that he has 2 master's degree and that the training he received on how we work as people and interact with the life around us and go from solving problems into creating a life that we desire by our design, the training he received with me was equal to those 2 masters. It doesn't mean anything if I can't teach you how you work. And that's what I'm here doing today, is I want to assist you by empowering you. I don't want you to be dependent upon me. I don't want you to be running back to me every time you got a problem. You need to know how to do this for yourself. That's the true meaning of a leader. A leader trains other leaders. Okay. So to be a leader, you have to bring, number one, the very first thing you have to do is to bring certainty to a situation, to an experience where there is not any. That's the very first thing on human development that we look for. It's a level of certainty. But there are 2 types of certainty. There is safety and security. Safety says you have to be dependent upon somebody else to be okay. That's good in a crisis situation, to where you want to look at somebody who has got a higher level of knowledge and expertise than you do to assist you. That is not going to be sustainable in life. You cannot keep pointing the finger at other people and going, I'm not okay because of them. Instead, you need to develop a level of security. And security says, if it is to be, it is up to me. I'm going to find a way to use this in my life to bring me out at my very best. Remember, the pain does not stop and then you're a success. You're a success by choosing to use what's in your environment. And then the pain begins to diminish. I know you're hurt right now. I know that you're struggling with something. But how many times do you tell yourself during the day, I'm going to find a way to use this? Powerful mind, use everything in my environment to move me forward, because there is something known as urgency, and then there's something known as crisis, chaos, and drama. If you go 91 days or longer in an emotional experience that's intense without finding a way to give it a purpose, you are now becoming habituated to the next level, which is known as freedom. But we are free to make choices of how to use the emotional energy in our life. And we're going to either use it as drama, crisis, chaos, and confusion, or we're going to use it as the choice of 2 yeses. So, urgency comes from when we say, I am not going to go another day without finding something I can take action on right now to make my life better. I'll give you an example of this as soon as I have my sip of that, saving the soul coffee. First marriage, about 10 years into it. And yeah, we got married as kids. I was a teenager. So I'm 10 years into it, and so I'm in my mid-20s. All right. And I went to a therapist and I said, you got to help me in my marriage. I cannot continue to support it the way it's going. And on It was either the second or third session. She's like, Dawn, yeah, that's great. I get this. You can't come back and see me anymore. Say what? And she goes, you already know what you need to do. You're just refusing to do it. You know, it took me another 7 years before I took action. Why? Because I was addicted to the drama, the crisis, the chaos. And as you move up on these levels, not only do you embody that level, you embody the level below it. So not only was I addicted to the confusion of living with someone who was self-medicating their depression using drugs and alcohol, and then wound up later on going down that path myself, I was also addicted to, oh, safety. Let me point the finger at him. I'm a victim because of him. I can only be okay when he gets better. I handed all my power away to somebody else. All right. So you have to learn to create your own urgency through choices. That is the true meaning of freedom, is that you have the choice to continue to screw up your life. Or you can have the choice out of the two yeses that I'm going to find a way to take action now to move myself forward. I have no idea what it's going to be, but my powerful mind knows, because there's something known as the law of polarity. And the law of polarity says that if you've got a problem, that the answer is in the same place. You just can't see it because of your perception. Your perception is you're turned away from the answer and you're turned towards the problem. You're turned towards those emotional identities that everything is going to continue to fall apart. My mom used to say, you know, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And then my dad passed away, and although she loved him deeply, she also knew he was an incredible abuser. And the life that she has discovered after him is absolutely phenomenal. But that life was waiting for her. She did not need to spend, what was it, 50 some odd years living that. The life was waiting for her that she could have lived, but she was facing towards the abuse and was making the decision that that was going to be her only perception. You're facing towards the lack of finances. You're facing towards the lack of love. You're facing towards the fact that you've been betrayed. You're facing towards the fact that you put everything into the business and it didn't work out. I don't know what you were looking at, but if you could just turn around and see, there's the potential for you moving forward. But to do that, you got to create urgency, because your subconscious mind is used to getting these emotional hits. So your subconscious mind, which runs every single habit and pattern you have, it operates every single cell within your body. Your subconscious mind is going, I got to have electricity to run off of. And the electricity I run off of is emotions. And it also goes by the law, like creates like. So if you're running off of drama, crisis, chaos, and confusion, well, guess what? It's going, great, I'm conditioned and habituated for this. I need to continue to find all the ways to give me the juice that I need for life. So you have to create the urgency to say, subconscious mind, come up with an answer today. Come up with something. But then you've got to give yourself a level of certainty. And how do you give yourself the level of certainty? When it comes up with something, you don't go to bed that night till you've taken action on it. That's right. You've got to say, I am going to create the urgency. I am going to create the pressure. Because right now you're conditioned for everything else to create the pressure for you. And I'm saying you got to learn to start creating it for yourself. Okay. By the way, how do you know when you're stuck in drama, crisis, chaos, and confusion? When you come across something that could assist you and you reject it. You won't take action on it, not even the simplest step, because you're going, well, I don't see how in the long term that's really going to get me anywhere. I'm really not seeing how this fits into the big picture. No, you won't. You won't see the big picture because you haven't earned the right. You only earn the right to see the big picture when you've been consistent. It takes at least 21 days of consistency before you begin to see a vision beyond hope. You begin to see a vision of what can actually take place. But you got to do it for 21 days. And then the subconscious is going, oh, okay, well, I can trust you. But right now it can't, because you've been conditioned to do it for everybody else but besides you. By the way, I have a course that I would like to gift you if you win it. It's called Mission, Vision, Purpose, and Path, where I go in depth on what it means to be a leader, to turn your light on even brighter in these dark times. But the only way you can get it, you cannot buy it unless you've already worked with me. The only way you can get it is by winning it. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to put hashtag MVPP, that stands for Mission, Vision, Purpose, Path, and then give me your aha from today, your insight, something you're going to take action on. By the way, if you're catching this on the podcast, if you're catching this on YouTube, you need to go over to our Facebook page for Ferguson and Associates. So what is that? Facebook.com/Drew Dawn Ferguson, I believe is how you find it. Or you can just go look in the search on Facebook for Ferguson and Associates. You give me the hashtag MVPP and your aha, your insight from today, you'll be placed in the drawing. Okay, so you know that you're in freedom of crisis, freedom to have all that drama whenever you reject every single thing that comes your way. Try taking action on it, because Pareto's principle tells us that for every 10 things you do, 8 are going to fail, only 2 are going to work. It's the law of averages. When does the average person stop? At 1.2 tries. You haven't gone through the 4 to find the 5th that's going to work. Okay. Then after that level, you move into the worthiness level, and the worthiness level shows up as, I'm never enough. Oh my gosh, I am going to have to sacrifice. I'm going to have to give myself away. I'm going to have to settle in life because I'm not enough. Let's turn you around 180 degrees and look at I'm not enough in a very healthy, functional way. You're right. You're not enough. You will never be enough. How do you know when you are finally enough? You will transition with your higher power into whatever you believe is coming next. Because as soon as you think I'm enough, you quit growing. This is actually very healthy, but it's been turned against you that you have to settle, that you have to sacrifice so someone else can be okay. Instead, you need to be partnering with someone. See, the original wound that you have that's holding you back in life was created by somebody else, which means that you're going to need someone else's assistance to help you work through it. You cannot continue to listen to this on Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast. You cannot keep joining me live on Facebook. You can't catch up on the episodes on YouTube. You can't go to my blog and continue to look at this stuff and think your life is going to get any better because you're doing it all on your own. That's not how life works. You have to experience a level of significance by working with someone who sees the brilliance that you cannot see because you're turned in the wrong direction. It's the reason why I love using hypnosis. I can work with someone one time and they get phenomenal results. It's why I continue working with people after they've done that in coaching programs if they need it, to continue to fine-tune those results that they're getting. So whether it's me or it's somebody else, you are going to have to partner with somebody. So quit trying to do it all on your own because you have what's known as a subconscious scotoma. A subconscious scotoma is a blind spot. It is the brilliance you were born with. But before age 8, something happened and you were taught, do not do your brilliance, do what someone else needed you to be, so they could have the quality life they wanted. You were there to make life easier for them. So right off the bat, you're now being wounded. And then because you got an emotional hit off of it that was pretty intense, the subconscious mind learned through what's known as an imprint that, oh, I am supposed to seek out these people, places, and things that are going to give me an intense emotional experience. And now your reticular activating system is going to be programmed the rest of your life to find things that are going to reinforce that original imprint. You know, I talked to someone who was told when they were young, don't ever do anything that is going to cause somebody else harm. Yeah, can you imagine the kind of life that they lead as far as being wounded? Because at times they're going to have to draw boundaries and go, no, you cannot continue to hurt me like this. But in doing so, they will cause that other person harm because that person will no longer be allowed to manipulate them in a dysfunctional way. But they were taught, do no harm. And so they're stuck at this level of worthiness. I'm going to continue to have to sacrifice myself. And when I do pick partners, I'm going to pick partners that are going to use me as a doormat. Going to have to work with a partner, going to have to pair up with somebody who's going to go, let's turn this around. If they're inflicting, if you want to go by do no harm, you need to quit enabling their bad behaviors at your expense. Spoken by somebody who's had experience with this. Okay. And then we move into the final level of leadership where you've been wounded. Validation. Validation is where you were taught that instead of love, you could only have connection. And the reason why is because your brilliance that was coming out on your level of worthiness was causing somebody jealousy. It was causing them envy. It was causing them to think that you were getting too big for your britches. And now they were going to have to do something to make their light shine. And it was easier just to tell you to dim yours down. So you were taught to repress, suppress, hold yourself back. It's easier to connect with people that way because there's never going to be enough. There's enough for everybody else, but there's not enough for you. And you think that if you work hard enough and long enough for somebody else and what they want in life, that they're finally going to see how phenomenal you are and feed you a few crumbs that are left over. Yeah, they're going to feed you enough, just enough to keep you around so they can keep working and achieving success off of you. There's never enough. When you come from poverty consciousness, there's never enough when you're working for the prosperity of everybody else but you. Life always seeks fuller expression. Life always wants to advance, but we are the only life forms that we know of that can do it through moving forward, choosing the progress that we want, being able to adapt to situations and having them turn out the way we want. Every other life form has to do that off of instinct. We have a choice. But we have a choice. We can either fully express ourselves by continuing to turn on our reticular activating system to find all the pain that's going to happen in our life, in the past, in the present, or ever to arrive in our future, or we can turn on our RAS to find all the ways that we are going to use this to bring ourselves out at our very best, because there's never enough love in the world. That is a universal truth. This is a level. There's never enough. That's right. There's never enough love. And by allowing yourself to be repressed by somebody else so they can use you, you're telling yourself you don't love yourself enough to move forward. So there's never enough. How can you begin to fully express that love today? What ideas have come to you as far as how you can move forward, and what action will you take on it today to make it happen? Because then the mind's going to be going, okay, let's find all the partners that can enhance our well-being and move us forward. By the way, I said at the very beginning, what would the quality of life be for the two people where, oh, I've been hurt physically and I don't want to move that. I'll be talking about this tomorrow on Lessons Learned. Sometimes the hard way, about the people that you pick as your friends. These were two of my friends, and I realized that they have an area of my life that I can go to for certainty, but fuller expression as far as adventure and seeing how far we can go with life. They're not it. They are useful in other areas, but not in turning on my untapped potential. But I do have friends that I can go to for that. In fact, I've never done this before, where they call it, oh, when they pull you behind on the boat with the parachute up in the air. Yeah, I'm going to be doing that in about a week and a half. Yes, never done it. I have a little bit of a challenge with heights, but I know that fuller expression says, how far can I go? What is waiting for me out there once I've done this? And it's the same way with you. Once you begin to tell your mind, let's look for the next challenge, not the next problem. Let's look for the next challenge, fuller expression. You're going to find the people to partner with that are going to be able to make that happen for you. And they are going to suggest things like my two other friends did that said, hey, let's do this paragliding or whatever it is. And I went, okay, yeah, let's do it, because the area of the brain that fires off with fear is the same area of the brain that fires off with excitement. And I've worked with my own coaches and my own hypnotist with the tools that takes that fear and turns it into extra energy for success. And then after that, you're going to realize all the choices you have in life to be able to move forward and start designing what it is that you want to experience. And then you will be having the true meaning of certainty, because if it is to be, it is up to me. That's security. You know, if you want something, you are going to find a way to make it happen. Okay. Whew. Covered a whole hoop and bunch today. So, how can I assist you with this? Well, the first thing I want you to do is hashtag MVPP with your aha, your insight, what you're going to take action on. Remember, podcasters, you got to go over to the Facebook page to be able to do that. Ferguson and Associates, you'll see my picture. And then after that, can hypnosis help you? CanHypnosisHelpYou.com. Go there, see how to have a no charge consult with whether it's me or whether it's one of my associates. If you want to talk to me, you're going to need to reach out to me direct, 636-699-7791. And if you want to be able to do this for other people, what I'm doing right here, let me train you in it, is CH4U.com. Become a certified hypnotist. Help others turn on their light, because in case you haven't noticed it, the world is a pretty dark place right now. It needs everybody's light turned on as bright as possible. Okay, so as we begin to wrap up, it's not doing it when it's easy. It's doing it when it gets hard. You've stopped yourself because you were wounded. Partner with somebody, whether it's me, I don't know, am I the right fit for you? Whether it's someone else who is in a level of leadership and knows the system to walk you through. But you're going to need to partner with someone to give that pain a purpose. Stopping is no longer an option anymore. It's time for your fuller expression. Thank you so much for allowing me to support you on this today.